So we have a couple of different function compositions here. And instead of giving a number directly, we're just given this variable a, which actually isn't a variable necessarily, because right here we're told that a cubed is equal to 2. And then some other things about a. All right, so let's pick on f prime first. So what is f prime evaluated at a? So actually, let's consider f prime of x first. Notation's a little simpler for that. So that means we want to take the derivative with respect to x of this composition, little f of x to the fourth. So the chain rule says, if you have a function composed with another, identify the outer function and the inner function. So the outer function is little f. So I want to know what is f prime of whatever, and then multiply that by the derivative of the inner function. The derivative of x to the fourth is 4x cubed. And the outer function, when you take its derivative, you leave that inner part alone. So there's an x to the fourth there. So that's what the chain rule says the derivative of this composition right here ought to be. And then we want to evaluate that. Switch color, how about green at a? So then just rewriting all of that with an a, I get little f prime a to the fourth power times 4a cubed. And then they give me a bunch of information up here to deal with the a. So does anything up there help? F prime of a to the fourth is 2, right? And here's an f prime of a to the fourth. Okay, so they give us that one right there. Oops, pen, please. So that, according to the top, is just a 2. And then I've got a times 4 here, and then times a cubed, which they also give me up here. So big F prime of a is 2 times 4 times 2, which is 16. All right, so let's try that same thing, but with what they're calling g here. So I'm going to come up here. And first, I'm going to use an x. G prime of x says take the derivative of, in this case, we have the fourth power of f. So f of x to the fourth power. Now, what's different here is that the fourth power is the outer function and the little f is the inner function. So the chain rule says take the derivative of the outer function. What's the derivative of something to the fourth power? It would be 4 times whatever to the third power, and then multiply by the derivative of the inner function, and the derivative of f is f prime. And then remember, the chain rule also says that whatever the inner function was, it stays the inner function in the derivative. So that's an f of x right there. All right, so then we rewrite that with a's. So switch back to red here. G prime of a should be from that 4 times parentheses cubed. Inside the parentheses go f of a times f prime of a. All right, what do we know? Do we know, let's get a highlighter. Do we know f of a over here? We do. It's getting a little messy there. Let's pull, oh, right there. F of a is 3. So this right here is a 3. So that means I have 4 times 3 cubed. And then do we know what f prime of a is? And that is right here. F prime of a is 13. 3 cubed is 27 times 4 times 13. And it is calculator time. Oops. 13. So we have to then plug that into our calculator, and that's going to be our G prime of A. What's the moral of this story? Well, it was a puzzle for sure. The moral is if you change the order of the composition, you get a new function. If you have a new function, you have a new derivative. Notice that these answers aren't anywhere close to each other. And the other moral is getting used to the chain rule. The fact that identifying what is the outer function, taking its derivative, and identifying the inner function, multiplying by its derivative. That's what the chain rule tells us right there. That was definitely a challenge.